Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the JB Podcast at yahoo.com, where you can send your emails to the JB Podcast at yahoo.com. As we said to you, we will do a post game. As we said to you yesterday, we will do a post game reaction to the Bills Jets game. And the Bills and the Jets had a very interesting matchup today, where the Jets take command of the first game, where they defeat the Bills 22-16 in overtime. And what I have to say is the Bills ruined it for themselves. Allen interception, fumble, punt interception, too many turnovers. That cost them the game. The Jet defense was very good, as we all expected. The Bills had a good running game today from James Cook, who is going to be he's pretty solid. And there are other guys who played pretty well, but Allen made a couple of big mistakes that cost him the game. 3 interceptions. But obviously, they couldn't finish the game the way they wanted to. They thought they had this game, but then the Jets got the turnover and they scored a touchdown. And then they win in overtime on the receiving. They kick it off, receives it, and then he scores a touchdown right away, and the game's over. Breece Hall, gotta say, pretty good game. 127 yards, 10 carries. This guy, out last year with an ACL, comes back this year, has a very good opening game against a tough Bills team who, listen, the Bills are still a really good team. Can't discredit it. Allen made a few mistakes. Can't, as I said yesterday about the Giants, you can't let it bother you and take away your confidence going into game 2. And the Bills have game 2 against the Raiders in Buffalo. So that should be a good game to watch. And the Jets have the next game against the Cowboys in Dallas, Sunday at 4:25. So 2 games. So the Jets got a tough one coming up. As we saw, the Cowboys demolished the Giants 40-0 yesterday. But it's pretty much like a tale of 2 games. The Giants played horrible yesterday, and the Jets played pretty well today. And I noticed this is that usually the Giants and the Jets play together. They play good when one team wins, the other team wins. I noticed that, but not this week. The Giants played terribly. The Jets played a solid game enough to win the game. Bills win the toss in the overtime. They received the ball to start, and they couldn't convert on first down. And then they give it to the Jets, and they score the Jets score on the receiving ball. But this was a very good game, as we expected. A lot better than last night's game, I'll tell you that. And we'll get to the Aaron Rodgers injury in a moment. But once again, send your emails to the JB Podcast at yahoo.com. So Aaron Rodgers was taken out in the first quarter. They say they haven't really made it clear yet what he has. But I believe he has an ankle sprain. And I'm not a specialist in this, but I think he will be back hopefully soon, as long as they're concerned that it was a tear, obviously, like anybody would. But I believe that he will be back next game or the game after. But I gotta say, Wilson came into this game and he played aggressive. He was confident. He worked well with his teammates, and look what happens. They win the game. He kept him in this game. And I think he learned a lot from Rodgers in practice and the other players around him. Obviously, Zerloin has the big 43-yard field goal the big 30-yard field goal to tie the game, to give them the lead, 16-13, I'm sorry. Then Tyler Bass, 16-16, 50-yard field goal. I got to say, Tyler Bass, one of the best kickers in the league. This guy, if you're watching the game, it was showing he was making 60-yard field goals in practice. That's pretty good. 60-yard field goals. That's more than halfway the field. And then overtime, Gibson, 65-yard punt return, and the Jets win 22-16. And the Jets are off to a 1-0 start. And this is even without Aaron. This is without Aaron Rodgers most of the game, or all the game practically. And the Bills are 0-1. But hey, it's only one game. Can't really judge a team's season based off one game. It could set your confidence going forward, but it can't judge a team's success for the season in one game. Doesn't work like that. Give it 4 or 5 games. That's one thing, but not one game. You got to give it some time for the mojo to work. But this game had good energy. I think Joe Buck and Troy Aikman did a great job with the game. I think they did the best they can. They were trying their best to get the news on Aaron Rodgers, but it takes a while for that information to come out. Hopefully we'll know by tomorrow what he's got, or maybe even later tonight. But again, I think it's a mild thing. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a serious injury. I mean, he was carted off the field, but I think if I had to guess what he has, it seemed like he had a sprained ankle. And if he's a sprained ankle, he should come back probably in the next couple of games. Maybe even next game against the Cowboys. And that's a game where you definitely need him. But right now, Wilson's the quarterback at the moment. And there is optimism for Zach Wilson. He did have a very good game. Very good game. Is he 100? Is he a great quarterback now? No, but he's improved. I could see it right. If you're watching the game, you could see it right off the bat. The pieces were working. The offensive line got a little better. And the Jet defense, Quentin Williams, just a monster. Just a monster. As for the Bills, I like all these guys they have in terms of their receiving. I like Cook. I think Cook brings a lot to this team in terms of, he's got that style to him that I like. That, hey, let's do this, I like Gabe Davis. I like this new guy, Kincaid. I think Kincaid actually looked good tonight. Dawson Knox, we know he's a good player. And on the defense, a couple of good plays by Matt Milano that got him going. I think it was in the first half. He had a big couple of good sacks. But the bottom line is that the Bills ruined it for themselves. Too many touchdowns. I'm sorry. Too many interceptions. Too many interceptions. And Bills Mafia at the moment is wondering what they could do for next game to look like the Bills again. Bills had a good first half. Second half was terrible. Bills came out first quarter, middle of the first quarter. They were cranked. We were like, I remember Joe Buck was saying, like, we're cranking up the day. Bills are cranking up the offense now. And they were. They were. But then the second half comes around. The Jets go into the locker room. They make some adjustments. And Josh Allen has a couple of big turnovers. And that led the Jets to take the lead and then eventually force it to overtime. Well, Bass forced it to overtime. Then overtime, Bills win the coin toss. They get the ball. They couldn't convert. Give it up to the Jets. Gibson scores on a 65-yard punt return. And then the Jets win 22-16. And the Jets are 1-0, and this is without Aaron Rodgers. So how do you like that? Everyone was like, Zach Wilson, he can't play. But there is optimism. He could play, it looks like. He could play. He got better from last year. And if you don't see that he got better, you're not watching the same thing that everyone else is. Because he looks like a better quarterback than he was last year. He looks like he was aggressive, he confident, and he wanted to win. And look at that. They won the game. We'll do our Football Friday podcast on Friday with John. He'll be back. We have a Thursday night's game. I don't know who it is. I think it's the Eagles and the Vikings. Let me just double check. The Vikings and the Eagles at 8:15. That should be a good game. Very good game. Vikings 0-1, but Vikings got a lot to them. Eagles, they're the Eagles. Prime Video, 8:15. Should be a good game to watch. We'll see you on Friday for the Football Friday podcast.